Hello! Welcome to Dice Dropping Song of Ice and Fire role-playing game, The Chronicles of House Weirlight. Say hello, House Weirlight.
Hello,
Hello,
House Weirlight.
Weirlight.
Hello.
Every time.
Yep. Every time, Anthony.
Me and Dave said the same time.
Yes, of course, we have our delightful players back. Sadly, our Lord cannot join us. He is feeling under the weather, but that is all right. We continue onwards as tonight, if you've been following us, know that this could be a culmination of things recently, events so far. The prominent rise of House Weirlight through a several year period has led to the culmination of this event, the marriage of the heir, Lord Henrik Weirlight, to, of course, House Weirlight being one of the most powerful houses within the Reach, marrying to the second daughter of House Ashford, Ashella Ashford.
Drinking
and
champion
when-
of Girls' Night, as well as Once Upon a Time, the Great Evil.
It's true. She was once referenced as the Great Evil and was seemingly a side character who was sort of a queen bee type socially, but is now to be one of the main characters' bride. Isn't it funny how tabletop games work? No one can predict anything. And if you can, you're lying. Or you're not trying hard enough.
Second answer is more truthful.
But yes, the event, which is, of course, the event of the season for the Reach, there is not a single representative. There's every single house in the Reach has some representative here at the absolutely massive Theolden Hall, recently renovated for expansions for events just like this. And so far, according to the guests, things are going splendidly. This is an absolute magical affair. However, behind the scenes for the staff and hosts of this, everything is on fire. As not only hours into the celebration was one of the most prominent guests, Prince Oberyn Martell, younger brother to the Lord of the entire to all of Dorne, was poisoned along with his paramour, who is the long lost elder sister of the Weirlight family, of the Weirlight Lord, was poisoned mysteriously. With the quick actions of several of the household staff and, of course, the maester, they were saved from poisoning. However, they were then attacked by the would-be assassin. Intentions unclear. Many of, unfortunately, our maester and our house sworn sword, soon to be landed knight, were felled, but not before completely debilitating the assassin and devolving them into panicked insanity. Cornered, the steward of the house, Clarissa, they gathered a force to essentially chase after them, and led heroically by the heir of the house, Lord Henrik. However, Henrik was seemingly critically wounded by a trap, but nothing seemed to affect them, and eventually they captured the assassin and interrogated them before they finished bleeding out, but not before the steward's knightly husband was critically injured by a longbow shot through the lower neck. However, it is stated he will survive, though he is due bed rest. Whether he will listen to that, we'll see. Many of the house being sort of out of commission at this point, it only got worse once the daughter of the house suddenly fell ill at the feast, and excusing herself very ladylike to a back-covered location and promptly vomiting a inhuman amount of blood onto the floor before suddenly passing out and waking up moments later feeling quite delirious, where she found she had a strange new ability where when she touched people, she could feel the heartbeats of others. And along with the beat of the heart, words along with it, possibly the inner thoughts of the people she's touching. This happens simultaneously when the Lord, who was struck by the arrow, who earlier that day, in that morning, to calm them down, was given a ritual of blood magic by the maester and the steward who had been researching the topic, believing that it would be the best option to keep Henrik alive. Which it did. It did. Because if they had not done that ritual, Henrik would be dead right now. So it did its job. However, not realizing the message of twins and blood magic, what that exactly meant, transferred seemingly some ability or curse or who knows what over to
Boon.
Henrik's twin sister, Mariella. Meanwhile, Lady Vivienne uncovered one of the most intricate plots within the Reach, where nearly half the Reach Lords are involved, yet are completely ignorant of their own involvement in the plot, seemingly all culminating to the head of House Bulwer, the husband of the first daughter of the House of Ashford, Ashelica. After finding that out and basically uncovering things, Vivian also discovered that instead of dismantling this plot, she realized with the unique advantageous position her family members have placed the house in, she could become sole controller of this. Now, of course, House Ashford would benefit greatly if she did this. However, so would House Weirlight, and you are unifying your houses anyway, so why not? Started out awful. Things are turning out well. However, we have come to an interesting point in the story where it is finally the second day of the wedding. Lord Henrik, Maester Thorsten, and Steward Clarissa have all agreed that this very night, the night before the wedding, is the perfect night to abate the curse that, if not abated by the time vows are exchanged tomorrow evening, will spell the doom of Henrik's bride, Ashella. And I will also reveal every and any other bride from there on forward. Dooming the line of Weirlight. Something has awakened the ancient blood curse that has not quite really troubled the Weirlights much, except of recent years. Something is bringing magic back into the world, but no one really understands why, and it drives the force of both our steward and maester quite intensely. However, despite Henrik's reticence to do this, did seem to agree, and we now are dealing with the sort of effects of the first day onto the second, as we hopefully will get to see the root of the curse at the abandoned first hall of House Weirlight, Bloodbloom, who we have seen throughout the series as the center of all of our stewards' nightmares, as she and her family bloodline have sworn to protect the family from their own magical undoing. And all of those plot lines that we have seen from the plot with the Iron Men to possibly the death of several other individuals, several plots that the House Weirlight has overcome, possibly is all connected in the man they currently have captive, the head of House Bulwer, who might actually be a man known as Bleak Ormond. So things are coming to a head. Let's see how the night rolls out. The day rolls out. as we open the day to an absolutely beautiful morning, the sky could not be clearer. The songbirds are singing and chirping in beautiful melodies. It is truly a phenomenal day to go on a hunt.
Ta-ta!
That's right. The feast hunt, which normally, which will prove the wedding feast. Now, generally, the wedding feast happens after the kids are married, so it is often a tradition to do the hunting of the feast the day of the wedding. However, due to the size of the wedding, the hunt, which is a very staunch tradition within the Reach, will be held the day before, due to the mass amount of animals that need to be collected and prepared for the disgusting amount. Now, of course, the prize for getting the biggest will, of course, be the animal that the newlyweds will eat themselves. So the prize of having that your kill feeding on the future of the rulers of the Reach is quite prominent, and people are very excited for the hunt. It is basically tradition for the men to go and do this. However, there is absolutely nothing stopping any woman from going. It's just that if you're not into hunting, you're gonna get bored. Like, I mean, riding horses is fun, but with the intense male aggression. So the question I have to ask, Henrik, are you participating in the hunt?
Of course.
Of course. Excellent.
Yes.
Gotta spend some QT time with your blonde boyfriend.
Yes.
And with a bunch of other dudes, it's just strong
Yes,
male friends. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, because of the necessary of the amount that they'll need, the decision that Lord Tedric has essentially made is that it will be group. It will be a competition in group hunting, which doesn't surprise you even a little, Henrik, because your father is incredibly competitive. So they will be split into groups. So, Henrik, I assume that your group will be your second, which is, of course, is Sir Walton Dulver.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Blonde
boy.
boyfriend. Yes.
He's a cool boy. He's a cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Type.
Along with your party, will be your cousin.
I was gonna ask if he could go if he wasn't already in the group.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed you would want him on your team because he's
Yes.
literally the best hunter in this house. Yeah. So your cousin. Hey, Henrik, can you tell me your cousin's name?
Crispin.
No, not that cousin.
Also the other one.
Shit, I'm sorry. I'm like
the one that
one
hunts.
that's lived with us for a while.
Yeah,
sorry.
the one that's lived with you for 2 years.
We have a lot of cousins that showed up to the house unexplainably. Okay.
Hey, that's fair. I give you points for Crispin, but
Thank you.
the one I'm talking about.
Starts with a W, if I remember correctly.
No.
It
Oh,
does
does
not.
No, it's
What
not.
would you like to phone a
starts with
friend?
Can
It
I
starts
have
with
the
a
first-
D.
can I have the-
A D. Would you like to phone a friend?
Give me a sec.
You lived
This
with
fits-
him for
this
2
fits so
years.
well
You are the main. You are the
Listen,
main character.
You-
that you have lived with
Okay,
him for 2 years.
here's a
He
hint.
hasn't
You
called me
specifically
baby.
asked if we could take him home with us.
I know who it is. I just don't remember his name. Yeah, he was when we had to
Darren.
stop the whole weird wedding. 'cause he
His name is
proposed.
Darren.
Thank you.
But
Okay.
Darren-
let's be fair. Is the most exciting thing that's happened to Darren so far is that one of the fucking Crate Call girls really wants to rob him.
Yeah.
Just
S-
really
sent-
badly.
sent a sassy
And
note.
In training to
She
kinda
absolutely.
fly, which is
She
pretty
wants
cool.
to Amazonian top him real hard.
I
Yeah,
think this fits
that's-
really in character too because everyone forgets Darren's name because I think
valid.
he's literally
That's-
unforgettable. That
He's
is-
bland. He's the most forgettable person ever. He literally has the same ability that Clarissa has, which is blend in, but he's always doing it and can't turn it off. He's just
poor boy.
he's so
That's a rough
normal
superpower.
looking. Yep, yeah, it is. Yeah, so Darren Manning, your cousin. Now you can have like a large group. So you want to bring Crispin along as well? I mean, you got to know him pretty well. Yeah, so he'll bring his dogs, which are these like strange, lean,
Hyena-ish things, if I remember.
yeah, they're like weird Dornish hounds. These are the dogs that Nymora talked about that literally chased her for 5 days through the desert, while she was trying to get to her dad's house. Yeah, they're dicks. They're just like fucked with her and just put her on. They're very notoriously hard to train, which is why Crispin raised them from like pups when they were injured and just basically like he'll tell you like, no, you have to like do everything for them to like you, otherwise they'll just kill you.
Pretty bad.
Also, women love a man who can tame an animal.
Nymora, were you thinking about participating in the hunt?
I don't know if I'm well
Can
enough
she
to.
participate in the hunt? That's
So I would say Nymora, riding a horse right now is kind of out of the question.
I figured the question should be out there.
The true answer is no one can stop you. Like, I mean, yeah, your lord can stop you, right? But literally status wise and physicality wise, no one could really stop you, Nymora, if you wanted to
Thorsten
go.
could.
No, yeah, but
Milk of the
but-
poppy.
Milk of the pop.
yeah,
Yeah,
but-
again.
No, listen. But at what cost?
Yeah,
At
it
what
would.
cost?
You could further injure yourself. Yes.
I thought I was thinking more emotionally what Thorsten would do to me. So like.
Yes, that
there's
is also true. Thorsten is very good at that.
So, no, it's if Thorsten is very insistent about it, which I'm assuming that he is.
He is. Let's be real.
And Thorsten, I am imagining, is still laid up.
He's like walking around on a staff, but like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, he sits down a lot, but like he does.
I've got my books.
Yeah, he's like he's doing a good example of being like, see, I am very injured. This is what you do when you rest. You just like takes the book out.
I will stay at the keep and I will rest,
Yep.
and I am very salty about it.
Yeah. However, you do get to rest in the same room as Prince Oberyn Martell, and
yeah, and he's there.
yeah, and of course, like Lady Camilla.
I'm in danger.
Yeah. Absolutely. However, while
from poison.
the menfolk are off hunting. Now, the thing I would like to preference to you, Henrik, when you go hunting, are you actually trying to like win the boar, or would you like to use this opportunity to maybe scout out near Bloodbloom in the day?
definitely scout out near Blood. I wasn't like going to like hunt like to begin with, like be really into the competition, even though Henrik is also very competitive. Let someone else win this one for once.
It is your wedding. It would look.
It'd be
Yeah,
gauche.
I mean, it would be a cool brag, but it would also be like, wow,
That's-
what a fucking
that's a-
asshole.
Really,
Like,
dude?
That's a weird. That's a weird
No.
flex.
Also,
Yeah.
considering
Flex, bro.
what the fuck just happened last night and what I know is gonna happen this night, yeah, for sure, I would like to.
yeah, you are the
Use an
leader
excuse
of
to
your
scout
hunting.
out.
You are the leader of your hunting party, because you are the groomsman. Yeah. So you have Walton, you have Darren, and you have Crispin.
Also
Any others?
It's Aiden Primaris, is he here?
Layden is here. Would you like you want Layden with you too? Yeah, Layden will absolutely come with you. Any others?
Just kind of lining up to play basketball, and
Yeah, we're not-
Henrik's just like, I'm taking you, and you.
Walton,
You guys get
second,
everybody
come on,
else.
First, come on,
Like,
yeah.
Hot
Right.
boy squad and Darren.
And Darren.
And
That's so
Darren.
mean.
The question is, does Darren look better next to these men or worse? I don't know. I
Saying
can't.
Darren
It's
is
like-
clean. I would like to say Darren has cleaned up a lot. I've invested into that. He's just
Mhm.
not ungodly beautiful like all of you who have the attractive feature.
It's true. Crispin, Walton, Henrik, and Layden all have the attractive feature.
It might get worse because can I invite one more?
Yeah,
Where is
absolutely.
that?
No, your party can be like there are so many guests, dude. Like
Hot
you
boy
could have
squad.
you could have like
Yeah.
12 people in your party, and it would be
Um,
very balanced.
Let's get the whole fucking region here. Yeah, full hot boy squad. Can I get Ashella's older brother? I think this
Ashlyn,
Ash-
yeah.
Ashlyn,
Ashlyn will join you
Yeah.
on the
Fucking
hunting party.
Hot boy
Absolutely.
squad.
Then maybe because in Illinois,
Hot
my
man
sister,
squad
but I do
now,
want-
okay?
yeah,
Hot
and
man
also
squad.
Get,
Okay.
also
Hot man
keep
squad.
going with the hot boy squad and Darren. Can I get
You want to get
Garland?
Garland? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Garland will absolutely join you.
It's
A
your
bunch of
first
other
time hanging
dudes
out with
wanted
him.
to be on clearly wanted to be on Garland's team, but you're like Lord Garland, Sir Garland, will you join me on my the team? And he would be like, oh, of course, and just like
In his head, yes.
yeah, and because like I mean, Henrik, right? You know the secret
I know.
that Garland's gonna be your brother-in-law.
No.
Which is, I mean, Henrik, how do you feel about that? Looking at like Garland, who is just like he's like the dude of the Reach at this point.
I
He
think
used to be
I-
sort of the darling, but after 2 years, he is now the literal bar of chivalry in the
Yeah.
Reach.
I mean, Henrik's always looked up to Garland since he met him before. Even more so now, and I mean, he's like the epitome of knighthood and everything, and he is excited because that's a really good match for his sister and someone he thinks will make her happy. And it's also just like a cool dude, like someone he kind of still wants to be. I know we had that whole like self-assuring knight kiss last time, but like being friends with Garland, having his respect would really like cement that. And I feel like, yeah, Henrik's very excited to be on this hunt with Garland.
Excellent. So we have Darren, Crispin, Walton, Layden, Ashlyn, Garland. A lot of if we're seeing
It's a Reach thing, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. A lot of like all of them.
Laying down the
Literally
sick
all of them
beats
are
with all their
"Ms."
names, yes.
Crispin, like
For Henrik,
and then
Henrik.
Henrik.
It's
Henrik.
because he's the leader.
Yeah, exactly. He's the one who's different. So let's see. I believe that is a party of
Six, seven?
Henrik,
do.
Walton, Darren,
So
Layden,
7 including you.
Seven
With a
total.
Crispin,
Septfecta.
Garland. Yeah, Ashlyn. Yeah, 7.
Septfecta.
There you go. Yeah, because it's Garland. Yeah,
It's 7. It's a holy number. Come on.
I have to.
Oh my
I have.
God,
I
yes.
have to. I'm gonna write it in. I'm gonna write it in like the Roll20 chat.
All the ends.
Otherwise, I'm going to go insane.
Too many
so-
ends.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of all of them. Literally all of
all
them.
the ends. I
There's a
think I
name in
got
every
it.
single one.
It's
Didn't intend for it
hilarious.
to be 7, but that just fits out great.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's fantastic. Yeah, because Ashlyn, Crispin, Darren, Layden, Walton, Garland. Yeah. I believe that's everyone, right? Ashlyn, Crispin, Darren, Layden, Walton, Garland.
Yes.
Okay.
And Henrik makes 7.
And Henrik.
The holy,
Henrik and-
the holy number
and
7.
Henrik makes 7. Henrik, Ashlyn, Crispin, Darren, Layden, Walton, Garland. I mean, so what the naming scheme of that tells me is we've just set up like a future round table.
Hey.
Or a boy band.
Yeah,
Either
and
way.
Darren is going to be the who's the
Manager?
knight who's the knight who fights the Green Knight? Is that Sir Hector? Who's that?
Oh,
It's the one knight who did nothing
Oh,
essentially.
right.
So the one who fights the Green Knight is Gowan.
Gowan, yeah,
right?
Sir Gowan. Yeah, Darren. I'm calling now. Darren is Gowan.
No, Darren is K. Sir K.
No, that's so sad.
But accurate.
Listen, Sir Gowan was a virgin, and Darren, if he gets with his lady, is not going to be her.
Listen, no, listen. The Great Call Girl is his Green Knight.
Mhm. There you go.
Well, let's be honest. Probably out of all of them, the only virgin right now is Darren.
No, there's another virgin in there.
Probably also Garland, if we're being honest. So,
It's
Garland.
possible.
It's
for
Garland.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Garland
you
is
guys will be
100%.
each other's first.
It's gonna be so horrible.
Oh god,
It's so horrible.
It always
Great.
is, but that's fine.
For everyone watching who doesn't know Arthurian lore, like we have a lot of people in here who just like love ancient history and folklore. So
No,
that's that.
no.
That's what that was about.
If you haven't gotten that we like Western like medieval fiction, I feel like at this point you're not paying attention.
You also haven't gotten that we're
uh,
nerds and we know
seeing as
Yeah,
we're
them
playing
stuff.
a Western
It-
medieval fiction game.
It also
I
helps that
apologize
Monty
in advance
Python also
for,
played into this a little bit.
Yeah,
Very
I
true.
apologize
Yeah.
in advance for getting nerd all over your computer screen.
Yes, I'm sorry.
However,
I apologize for no one getting the reference. But we're having fun tonight. We're gonna have a lot of fun because we might not be having a lot of fun later.
What? Oh, no.
Some of us.
So yeah. So this is the hunting party. And so when you guys are all lined up with you in the center and all the horses, and everyone else is just fucking looking, and a lot of the women who are about to like wave goodbye, there is definitely a inordinate, massive pile of young ladies just really close to your group before they all send them off.
I like how it's a pile and not a crowd.
No, it's a pile.
It's a pile.
there's too many.
It's pile.
There's a lot. Just
Pretty
nothing
humid.
top by. I'm sure Clarissa was there to see it off to just fucking do this to Henrik.
Absolutely.
Keep on track.
Just like goodbye, and then just stare at him. Like, you fucking do it. Yep, absolutely. There is just literally just screaming young ladies, just being like, "Good luck!" Like just screaming at the top of their lungs, and Crispin and all of course the very attractive, very well formed, of course, like nodding, winking, like bowing, gesturing. Garland says something along the lines, I think of like, your devotion to us will not be squandered, and we will bring back, I think a mighty boar. Some very noble declaration. Darren is just like trying to fuse with his horse. Just trying like, okay, that's a lot of physical attention. But yes, Ashlyn nearly goes like, all right, well, and then he just stops, and then he just like looks over at you, Henrik.
Yeah, I would like to thank you. Just nod. Stop
Ashlyn
himself,
seems
so
to be sort of used to being in charge.
I got that. It's all right.
Crispin leans over to you and goes, cousin, is this normal? Gesturing to the crowd of girls.
For me, yes.
Would like to be humble and say no, honestly, but
Oh,
unfortunately,
see, I knew coming here would be a good idea.
always is. I'm glad you're here.
Like, absolutely. Also, Darren, you're my cousin, right? He just like hits Darren on the back, and Darren is like, just fucking like reacts. And then
He's just
when
like, pulled out
Darren
the
reacts
hole he
like
was
that,
in.
Crispin suddenly has a knife in his hand, and then suddenly Darren has a knife in his hand, and they just
Okay.
stare at each other,
Yeah.
and everyone kind of like looks at each other, and Crispin goes, "Nice reflexes."
All right.
I knew we were cousins, and Darren's like, "Okay."
Darren, Crispin,
It's just like
you don't know each other.
Darren.
Darren has a rabbit heart. Like, I'll just I'll tell you that right now.
Now it's trained with a knife, so it's a little better. There we go.
Puts the knife away. Yeah. So you guys, Henrik, what's the command to ride out?
I want to go. Sorry, look at the map.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, Blood Bloom is to the northeast.
Thank you. Okay. All right, men, to the northeast. Let's make sure I don't get shown up at my own wedding feast. All right.
Like, and they all go, ah! And then Walton goes, well, if you didn't want to show up, why did you invite me? And just like rides off. Yeah. So you go
Watch him
voice,
ride
voice.
off his beautiful, luscious.
Yeah,
hair.
and there's like definitely like a weird, very pandering shot of like Henrik at the head of like this arrow formation of just like hot the hot Westerosi
Dudes. Oh, this is great.
All your band of 7, as it were. Yeah, there's definitely like a panoramic shot, and they're like all raised up, and there's like maybe a little bit of a gratuitous shot of the camera coming around, and we just see their butts.
Butts.
Just butt shot, of course.
Yep. Good mandatory butt shot. And yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. I do have a moderately random question. So we've got the hunt today. You had mentioned that there's a tournament also at some point in all of this. I don't think
Yes.
that'd be the day of the ceremony, or
It is actually.
Okay.
The tournament is the day of the ceremony. There is a different tournament just before the evening, which isn't the joust. It's more of like a
melee.
Yeah, because there was like general competitions on the first day, and basically this is there's a culmination of the competitions today. Unfortunately, none of the party members got to like participate because shit was just constantly going on, and that's pretty normal. Like again, winning your own wedding joust is like, while a good brag and makes you seem badass, it also kind of makes you gauche and kind of a douche. Yeah, no one can refute it, but like you're kind of.
That's why Walton's fighting for me.
It's shit you could talk about. It's like, hey, so how did you guys do in the tournament? No.
Yeah,
all
exactly,
that
right?
talking shit.
It's like, no, you're competing for me, right? And you can sit there and watch them. And yeah, and Henrik did do that a bit. But yeah, no, there's basically the feast, which should last, the hunt, which is going to take a while, essentially, because there's a lot of horses. So they should be back well before sunset, though, and then there's some competitions then, and then I think essentially the pre-party where because of the size and the unique nature of being a wedding in the Reach. Weddings in the Reach have a tradition that do not really extend much outside of it. People believe this is actually the original tradition, but all the different cultures outside of the Reach have sort of like put their own spin on things and changed. In the Reach, there is a thing that we actually in our culture sort of recognize, which is the bachelor and bachelorette party, essentially. It is called your final moon is the name of the tradition. Like the final moon, where men, like the bride and a group of women and the groom and a group of men go out and essentially the original part of that tradition was like really weird, and we don't need to talk about it. But the modern version, is essentially, it's a party. You go out and you do something really fun, something that you haven't done before. The goal is to do something that you haven't done before marriage. Sometimes it's socially acceptable for both the groom and the bride to do something maybe a little untowards, maybe even like sort of illegal, but it is often excused as long as like nobody super like sees it, or except the bachelor party. Yeah, like you could really do anything. It's much more common that everyone just sort of like goes out and has like the women often have like a nighttime garden party and stuff, and like men often go to like a brothel. Whether they actually sleep with the women is one thing or another, but it's the sort of common traditions. But really, you can do anything. But yeah, so I just sort of wanted to quickly explain that. It's the Reach is very insular and weird. And so especially when Walton was like, yeah, I'll be your second, and then you told him about like the stag party.
Right, he's not from the Reach and everything.
No, he's not. So he was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like he's just like, that sounds fantastic. Yeah, why don't everyone do that? That's great. Because the outside of the Reach, no one does that. Because people are like, no, that like causes a lot of problems. And the Reach are like, it's fine. Like it's just It's almost like the Reach all have complete excess. Because they are very protected and all that good stuff. So, while the hunt is going on, however, it is then time for the Grand Salon. Essentially, the biggest salon probably the Reach has seen in quite some time is now happening within the Olden Hall, where all of the women are sat in incredibly comfortable seats, tended to by dozens of servants. Music is playing. Sometimes, often games will arise or unique entertainment will show up. But it is a time to speak, to talk, to relax, not with the basically thing if there are no men here now, and we can sort of talk about what we want to talk about, is often the motivation. So, who is attending the salon? Vivian. Mariella, okay. No one else? Carissa, no? You know? No?
I don't need to be there.
You sure? You positive?
No, not positive, but you know, we'll see.
Very well. All right. So I would like in this moment, just before we get to the Grand Salon, Henrik, since you are leading the charge,
Yes.
as they say,
Hmm.
could you give me a survival test?
Sure.
Sorry for all the lore dump, by the way, everyone. It's just wanted to clear some things up.
God, I love lore.
Just making sure everything and all my injuries and everything were reset to 0 because new day.
New day, and you definitely didn't just pass it all on to your sister.
I sure didn't. Okay.
That definitely didn't happen.
I want to start off good. Can I use a destiny point to
Absolutely. Gain a bonus die. Yeah, so what you would do is gain a bonus die in survival. I think I don't actually know a lot about. I think it's
Is it tracking?
I think it's tracking. But it's also there's a directional one.
Yeah, there's orientation and tracking.
This is going to be orientation because I know what your goals are. Normally it would be tracking, but you're doing orientation.
I have both of those.
Thank you. 9.
9?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there wasn't like a DC. It was just like how good you do. Yeah, because Henrik, you've never really like. I guess this is the question I would like to ask. I'd like to confirm this right now. When you were a kid, you were absolutely told about Blood Bloom. Now, this wasn't classes, so your classes in your keep. So I don't know if you ditched them or not, but you were definitely told about Blood Bloom. And of course, no, I know you as Henrik had spent a lot of time among your own people. You ride around there, you ask what's wrong. You hung out there when you were a kid, went to Redport. You would have heard that people generally are really superstitious about the old castle. Did you ever go there as a kid, like fascinated or interested, or you were like, nah, it's too far, I want to do other stuff?
Oh, with Henrik? Oh, absolutely. I think it's definitely something I could see like him and Felix daring each other to see who gets closer to the castle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I touched it. There we go. My hand on the wall.
Yeah, so it is very difficult to touch the actual castle because it is now there has been these strange cypress trees have grown over the area, and you can't even really see Blood Bloom anymore. You can see the peak of a broken tower, but that's sort of it. And all around it are your family's namesake flowers, the Weirlights. Though I don't know if Henrik knew they were Weirlights or they were just like, oh, look, another red flower. Or you just assumed they were poppies. They do look similar. Now, of course, Henrik knows the difference, but maybe when he was a child, Yeah, so you said you sort of you and Felix, maybe when you were kids, sort of dared each other to sort of go near there.
So I think I would have been a little familiar with the area.
Cool. So tell me what experience you had as a child made you never want to go near that castle again.
I think that on one of the instances where we were daring each other to see how far, like, into the thicket of trees and see if we could actually go inside the castle. Henrik, being the being of a strong sense of machismo, trying to go in the furthest, and actually, I think, push past some of the ivy, and before he could actually go into it, I don't even think he's sure if what he saw was real, but he tried to step into it into the actual building, and the wooden planks of what once was a door fell, and it just seemed like this open, gaping pit or maw with no end, even though there was light coming from the inside, and it was just black darkness. And just, narrator makes a note. No.
Frantic typing.
Like,
but I'm sure it was just like a weird.
Excellent.
Yeah,
So you'll get there. So I'm about to do a thing. Naimora.
Hello.
You have been a sworn blade of this family for nearly 8 years. You and your main goal and duty was, of course, protecting the children, predominantly the twins. But when more and more kept fucking cropping,
they just kept happening.
They just kept popping out.
They kept popping out. That you often looked at all of them. All the children know you by name. None of them call you by like a title. They all see you very
That's family.
yeah, exactly, right. In public, people have to be more formal, but in private, no one, like even Henrik and Merritt, no one calls you. They call you Naimora, right? Like you are as a part of their upbringing as most of their other like people, right? That's as happens with rich kids, right? Like you're not raised by one, you're not raised by your parents, you're raised by your parents and everyone else around you, right? So you would have, probably just by guarding, obviously learned of, everyone here knows this story, right? The blood bloom, the old Weirlights striking some deal with the land, and having to abandon the castle due to hubris, which is why the Weirlights now must reattain their honor and la 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 la. So better, yeah. And they're trying to use it as a lesson, when in fact the true history is they just fucked up. But you've ridden all around the properties. You've patrolled around the entire edge of the lands, right? You've done that multiple times. And at least one time, it could probably was more, you had to go near Blood Bloom.
Absolutely.
Magic
isn't real.
Absolutely. No, it's not.
I'm not afraid of curses.
No, of course you're not, Naimora. But what happened when you had to go much closer to Bloodbloom than you ever had before? What happened that, while Naimora doesn't believe in all that bullshit, definitely made you not want to ever go near it again? What happened? And I'm giving you literally, I'm about to ask this question to everyone. I'm giving you literally free control. You can literally say whatever you want.
I think what happened is that I got lost, which is not something that, with the amount of time that I've spent around the Reach, and the last time that Naimora got lost was when she was 16 and dying in a desert. And so I think what happened is that even though everything was familiar and she should have known, like I should have known the way and I should have known because like listen, it's the Reach. It's like rolling meadows and shit like
Yeah.
that. It's not like there's not tons of dense forest.
No, and there's plenty
Um,
of like landmarks with like standing stones
Yeah.
and small crops of trees. Like it's easy to orient yourself.
Yeah, but it was that just I got to a point where it felt like everything was slightly off enough to make me feel like confused. Um and just it was just like being lost in the desert again because it was just brought back all of that anxiety about just like I don't have any provision I don't have any provisions, I don't have any water, what am I going to do? And it was just like uh and it probably lasted for like a half hour at least before like it just like spat me out back like near like a little stream or something that I finally recognized. But for that time where I was lost, it was just like
Yeah.
a weird sensation where I knew where I was and I knew where I needed to go, but everything seemed so unfamiliar that I couldn't orient myself.
Excellent.
A weird disconnect.
Excellent. Uh yeah, I love it. Okay, cool. So Thorsten, you are one of the elder people here. You grew up here your entire life. You became a macer eventually. Um, uh, did you ever, as a child, uh, go to Bloodbloom?
Yes.
Mhm.
It was shortly after I was returned from what we speculate is the Danitz.
Mhm. Not quite
And
sure anymore.
not quite sure anymore. But that's where Thorsten had his first encounter with the Weirlights, with the dream weird thing.
Mhm.
And it didn't happen again until he was an adult.
I
And
see.
he didn't know what Thorsten didn't know what to expect of it as a child. And so I, when it happened again as an adult, that's why Thorsten acted the way he did, because he had experienced something similar
Mhm.
as remembering as a child with it.
Yeah, yeah. When you were a kid, right after being kidnapped, and you went to Bloodbloom, were you alone?
Yeah, I like to explore. I like to learn about nature, and I would take my books.
You were trapped inside a room for a while, so it was nice to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened that you repressed up until that moment as an
I was
adult?
trapped in a room,
Mhm.
and just the weird light flower just felt like it was whispering to me, untangible whispers, until it happened again as an adult, and it was more of like Thorsten had to be an adult to be able to understand what was being said.
Mm. Okay.
For all he knows, for all I know, it could have been in Valyrian versus common.
Yeah, you just weren't sure.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Now, unfortunately, Bailey, for Clarissa, I have yours. You were the first person I asked way back when. Got yours, where you rode near to investigate, and then a flower had a face, and it screamed at you, and you were like, "Okay, all right." Like it just,
All right, not going back there.
cool. I'm out. Like
Spring flowers, yeah, I'm good.
Mariella, uh, you spent your entire life here, right? You were, of course, a much more dutiful daughter. You stayed indoors a lot, but you were allowed a lot of freedom to explore the grounds. Seeing as you guys had your grounds were so well patrolled, you basically have no crime, except for like Redport. Redport has some crime, but like don't go to
It's a
Redport.
port city, yeah.
It's a port city. There was going to be some crime, but that is the only place of crime, right? There's no bandits, there's no raiders. Like it's free. You can kind of just go wherever. You would you say that you ever like ever, due to just curiosity or fascination, or just wanting to know more, or wanting to assert some kind of sense of self, like go near the Bloodbloom? as you
I
of
think
course
I think she
know
ended
the
up there.
entire story.
Yeah, I think she ended up there accidentally.
I love that. I like that a lot. Why, what was the accident? Were you like chasing after an animal or a pet, or it was just
The
a
I'll feel these feelings later jar got real fucking full.
Gotcha.
And
you
she just
rode
blindly grabbed a horse and rode, and
and
I think she had
realized,
intended to go like east or north, not like northeast, and so she
Yeah.
ended up near there.
directly when you finally calmed down, you looked up and you were just in front. I
Yeah.
love that.
There.
Love that.
Well, I don't even think she realized she was there until
until-
like because it's like she had kind of made a vague reference to it way back in the woods with Walton of like
Yeah.
screaming in a poppy field. It's like where no one is
Mhm.
there. And I think she got there and it's like she started screaming and it turned into like multiple voices kind of a thing.
Like something in the forest echoed you.
Yeah, it's like there
Multiple
was
things in the
that,
forest?
and like
Okay.
if she was tried to move, it felt like her dress kept snagging on something and she turned and there wasn't anything there. And then she realized where she was.
She's like, wait, where am I? Got it.
It's just one of those like blind, like I need to get out of here. This like I gotta pull the cork. I gotta pull the cork now.
Yeah. Excellent. Now, the one I've been waiting for the whole time, the one I'm most fascinated to hear.
Because this shit isn't
Vivienne.
real to her.
Yeah.
You like like Clarissa spent, even when she was a child, even though she's not a Weirlight, she spent so much time here, right? Like that she essentially I mean, Clarissa, you came to the actual castle to like visit, I'm sure when you were like 8 or something. And because of your father's service, and like also I think you were probably the only daughter who maybe like was
Cared.
interested. Like
Yeah. 100%.
yeah, the rest were like, I have things to do, and you were just like, yes. How is our land run? So you went there, saw all the castles, went like, roamed around all kinds of shit. However, Vivienne, the first time you saw Castle Weirlight, the Theoden Hall, was when you were 16, for your wedding day, right?
Yep.
That was the first time. You luckily did things sort of different with your children, but how your families sort of had it is you were kept away from Diedrich after the arrangement, and then you're just like, all right, go get married. Just like
Got shipped off.
yeah, basically. Yeah, and the first question I have: what was your first impression of Theoden Hall? Not
I
Bloodloom,
think
Theoden Hall.
Yeah, Theoden Hall. I think it was vastly impressive because I think in growing up in the what are they called, the west side.
Westerlands. The Westerlands.
Yeah, growing up in the Westerlands, of course we always see the ocean, but I think it's vastly different than seeing it over across like rolling fields as opposed to the mountainscape that I see it from.
Crags. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your,
And I
your
think it
castle
was-
was sort of like underground, technically, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like built into a mountain, so the windows are few and far between, and the rest is just dark. And
So I think, so I think Theoden Hall was probably one of the most beautiful. The Reach itself probably has some of the most beautiful castles that I've ever seen.
absolutely. Now, Vivienne, you are an incredibly intelligent and cunning woman, even when you were 16. Knowing you were going to be the lady of House Weirlight, marrying the heir, did you, learn about them beforehand?
Absolutely. I think I would have asked Tiedrick because Tiedrick has a very impressive knowledge of his history and how he runs his lands. So I would have liked to have learned that from him.
Yeah. So you would, I would say then you would know you would have learned when you were first married the origin of the house motto, which came from possibly this ancient deal Now, of course, Tidrick was like, some say it was, magic, but, we all like to say that. Tidrick being a very practical man. Romantic, absolutely. But, like, in most, a total romantic in many ways, but also in many ways a very practical man. If he sees something, he believes it. If he hears something, he believes it. If he can't do both of those things, it's not real. What was the first time you heard of Bloodbloom, of course, but then you realize like it's not like it's not like gone, it's still here. When was the first time you actually saw Bloodbloom?
This is where it gets sad. I think when Tidrick and I were first pregnant, he wanted to show me Bloodbloom because he wanted to, talk about family history, and he was just so excited. And I think that's what started our tradition of like going out riding, is when he talked to me about Bloodbloom, and he asked if I wanted to go see it.
God, I feel like I know what you're about to say. But what happened in that moment that made you never want to go near Bloodbloom again?
When we arrived there, I think that is when the first miscarriage happened.
Miscarried. Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Vivian. I know you are a practical woman. You don't want to hear about magic. You don't believe in it. And you had your miscarriage there, right? And that's like, you're just like, I don't want to. You're like, I don't want to go near there because I associate it with my miscarriage, which was a horrible time for me. Because absolutely, like, that was incredibly traumatic, and for anyone, especially a 16-year-old girl. However, what just before or just after the miscarriage, what happened that you just will never say to fucking anyone or acknowledge that it existed and repressed it? And you're like, nope, that wasn't real. I was just miscarrying and going through a thing. What happened?
I think I heard over and over again for some reason that I was unwelcome and an intruder.
Okay.
It was going through my mind, and I think I rationalized, this is obvious. Meeting Tidrick's father, this is all of my insecurities coming out while this is happening to me. But I think in that moment, it was just another voice just saying over and over again, intruder, unwelcome.
Just brief moment to gush over my players and how much I love all of you, because these are fantastic. I love them so much. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is there 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yeah. And I know, I know Tidrick's.
I apologize to your NPC party.
Yeah.
Henrik.
Yep. And Tidrick, that makes 7 events. Fantastic. And with that, I would like to very much, I know we're kind of jumping all over the place. The flow we're not quite grasping it yet. But I am hoping to grasp it now in the Grand Salon. Mariella, Vivian, and no, not Clarissa, right? You're not at the salon.
She abstained.
I'm still the steward. I'm around.
I would say, what are you doing then, Clarissa, if you are not at the salon?
I'm probably trying to take care of my child and my husband.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say there are children nearby during the Grand Salon, but they're not like in the building. There's just a bunch of servants watching them, essentially playing like outside another room, and they're just like chasing butterflies and shit. But yes, you are with Calum and your husbando. Very well. So Vivian and Mariella, you now Vivian, you are hosting the Grand Salon. So please, Vivian, tell me, what's the entertainment like? What's the music like? What's the vibe? What have you and the wedding planner concocted as this is sort of like definitely your
Mhm.
moment. And remember, Ashella's here too, and your daughter. So what's going on? What's the sort of, is there like a unique form of entertainment here? And like I'm literally giving you permission to do anything because you are inhumanly rich and and influential. So
Yeah. Well, I think Ashella was probably, aside from, of course, the High Towers, Ashella was one of my like top choices because she looks so good in purple and she was so nice to me. So I definitely think I would have catered to mostly, I think, introducing her to I guess an event that would have allowed everyone to fully be able to converse. Like it wasn't like an activity that involved people like moving like playing games or something. It would have been maybe something that allowed people to like sit and lounge and talk, definitely drink.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's a
Definitely.
more excellent. So what's the
Mhm.
entertainment like?
I think the entertainment is is I think also true to Vivienne. So I think it would have been maybe a smaller version of like the fighting pit that we see at Joust. It's like Micah and other attractive knights just like showing off like
They're
fighting styles.
exhibitioning.
Exhibition. Yeah. Allowing
Wrestling
like
and cello.
Objectifying
Yeah.
allowing women
hot military
yeah.
men. Yes.
allowing these rich women to like bet on what knights they are
Oh, there's
fighting.
betting. Oh,
Yeah, of course there is.
absolutely. Listen,
guys
gambling
aren't here.
was essentially popularized by women. Women
Mhm.
created most gambling shit. It is
Yeah.
they are they are the
Mhm.
true lords.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If there's gambling, oh god, everyone's so
100%.
into that. Like yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Multiple fights. Women are cheering, and like the
Mhm.
Raucous thing allows for like more private conversations in other
100%.
places. You don't have
Mhm.
to like stand near that if you don't want to. Cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's that music playing. I'm assuming
Yeah, because I think because we have a bard. I think he's like Green Thumb was his surname.
Greengrass. Yeah, Tom Greengrass.
Greengrass. Yeah, definitely. On I think Clarissa's
Yep, and
recommendation.
and the Gliding Blade Troop is
Mhm.
his like band that
Yeah,
follows him.
been playing and just a lot of frivolity that allows like
He has a very
distract.
sensual voice.
A lot of distractions to allow people to gamble, and also I think from what I've learned of Ashella, she knows how to thrive in this kind of environment. So just giving those who like able to talk, but also entertainment for the masses.
Fantastic. Yeah, so there's gambling going on. There's so the games are a lot less frivolous and more kind of empowering. I like that. That makes a lot of I think there's a lot of reach women who are surprised but in a very good way about it, of like, oh great, fantastic.
Yeah. 'Cause we're
Like
very
listen,
much
we all love the chair game, which is essentially like musical chairs. But like, this is
we do it every time.
yeah, exactly. And the betting thing has definitely got a lot of a lot of them excited. Absolutely. Mariella, what are you doing in the salon?
I think kind of working my way through some of my peers, it's like if I see Sylvie, I definitely want to like catch up with her and
Yeah.
like a couple other like individuals in the
Yeah,
group.
let's do that right now. Absolutely. So the moment you come near her, she turns to you, and she's just like, and she just immediately goes, Maury, cousin, and just like hugs you
Yeah.
because she technically is she's your cousin now.
Yep.
She's your
She's
step-cousin.
technically family, damn it.
She is, yeah. She's married to your cousin, and she just gives you a really big hug. She is, she had a child recently, but she's still like glowing, and her skin is like amazing. She literally looks like basically unaffected by the fact that she had a child, which is like,
It's the radiance of the mother, yes.
yes, it's like you're like, you go girl, and then another part of you is like, fuck you.
It's I think it's less fuck you and more like, I hope I got those genes.
Yeah,
like
God, I hope
it's like, I know we're not blood related, but like I am Vivian's child. Hopefully.
Hopefully. She goes, "It's so fantastic to see you. Big news, your brother getting married. Oh my, this is fantastic. I've heard a ton about the Ashfords. They are, I mean, our family had to make deals with them to trade when we came through the Rose Road and whatnot. So it's so exciting."
Indeed, and who knew Henrik would be able to pull off an event such as this, honestly, and like kind of like make a wide gesture, which includes like the like objectifying of men and the betting and the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, she goes, "Well, I'm sure that my aunt had something. Like my new aunt had something to do with this. This definitely seems her style. I mean, I'm not.
More than likely, yes.
Listen, I'm a proper Westerosi lady, but I'm not against this form of entertainment. But she looks at you and goes, "What? How are you? It's so good to see you. It feels like too long. It was I think we briefly catched up at King's Landing."
Yes, and then also I know our letters have been very sporadic.
Oh,
What with
listen, listen, Kevin and I, we've been so busy. So
I know you have a new son. I've been
yes,
off in High Garden. It's a lot going on.
it is. It is. Yeah. Do you know my son's name?
I think you had mentioned it many moons
No,
ago.
no, I didn't. I
Uh,
don't think I don't think I ever told you.
I don't believe so.
So I insisted on the name. Kevin and I had a long discussion about it.
You
Uh,
did.
yes, we did.
Didn't you have? It's named after Kevin's father, right?
So it yeah, yes and yes and no. Um, we sort of went with so his so essentially his name, his proper name, yes, is named after his father Arthur. Um, but his nickname, we've given him a second name, which isn't always traditional, but I wanted to. And our nickname for him, what we call him, is Kai, which, of course, for those of you who don't remember, is the Weirlight's eldest cousin who died fighting for the Reach, like fighting
The
in
Targaryens.
yep, the Crown Lands, like her family, and you guys were on their family. Sorry, not her family, but now her family, the Manderleys, and you guys were all on the Targaryen side, and he died fighting
Yep.
for them. Which Sylvie's family, the Hearts, were on the
opposing side. Yes.
Yeah, it did bad things happened. Like, but I wanted to call that because I want there to be celebration, not animosity. You know.
Mhm.
I mean, you must. I mean, I'm sure you've come to understand. There's so much to do.
All the inner politics of the family.
Oh yes, and establishing our house, I'm determined to make House Manning like much more prominent. And Kevin has been so supportive, and we've done quite a lot. It definitely seems like men of our bloodline seem to at least value like their women to some degree.
It's a rarity that I wish was more common.
Unfortunately, but it does make them stand out, which is good for business. And she smiles.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking elegant and gracefully. Like it is very odd. Like everything she does seems practiced and graceful and on. You know. She goes, but tell me, how have you been? I know you've been in High Garden.
Yes.
I've never seen High Garden. How tell me how have you been?
Oh. Well, let me ask you this. What was your impression of Theoden Hall when arriving?
Oh, when first arriving at the Elden Hall,
Yes.
grander than I've ever seen a castle, save of course the Red Keep.
I would probably say combine the concept of the Red Keep and Theoden Hall, and you will have first impression of Highgarden.
She grasps her chest and goes, I've longed to see it. It is said it is the most beautiful city in all of the Seven Kingdoms.
Well, I am to go back there after all of this, so maybe at some point some sort of visit might work itself
Truly?
out.
I would I would love to come. I would love to bring Kai.
Well, I think before any of that, you said you were a strong swimmer. Would you like to test your waters?
Like like I mean I've heard there is quite good swim. I would love to.
Well, making reference back to King's Landing.
Yep.
Yeah, so I will lead her to the gaggle of reach girls that I have as a soft entrance, and then like,
Uh-huh.
here's a Shella, meet a Shella. A Shella can give you way more dirt and crap on everybody else.
Right. Absolutely. No, she's ecstatic to talk and meet with them, but she does very much ask Mariella, like, how are you? What's going on with you? Are you well?
Uh, yes. Um, it's just been a lot to take in, especially since for possibly the first time, I'm considered a guest here as opposed to an aide to my mother. Um, so it's been a little flummoxing in a way. So
Mhm. She nods. Like, it's like, is it maybe two pots relief, but like two pots maybe like feeling a bit.
realizing that my
un-
time here is
I
not for
understand.
much longer, yes.
When I had to leave Hot Hall, realizing the final moments when I was packing that the next time I come here, I will be a celebrated guest and no longer a hostess. It was sobering, but exciting as well because many, even great men, will live their whole lives only seeing the bricks they grew up with, never seeing the world from a new perspective. But we women, we get to see the angle of many worlds. And I think there is no greater adapter than a woman of noble birth. I think Manning Hall was quite, I think, quite different, but it's empowering, especially when you see no. Well, I'm sure you'll understand when it comes to you.
I'm sure I've got a few hurdles first to clear, but luckily I have surrounded myself with women who have been able to clear those and can hopefully learn from them.
Yeah, Sylvie nods. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, at this point, oh god, yeah, she hooks her arm through Sylvie's and starts leading her, but like very subtly bracing herself for anything that goes through.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Fantastic. Okay. Um, yeah, you definitely come upon your group. Vivienne. Um, uh, now, you're gonna tell me in a moment what you want to do, but right now you are currently, well, sort of jumped on a little bit by, of course, the Lady Shreve.
Of course.
She's just like, Vivienne! Darling, oh my! Every time we come to one of these, I was like, if this woman cannot outdo herself, and then we come here, I was just, it's just, well, we all see it. It's just,
Yes.
He's left kind of speechless. Holy shit.
Mhm.
and to always receive your invitation, to know that the great house of Shreve is always welcome within the halls of Theoden. It does my heart good for the future of my family. Do you know my daughter is still unmarried?
I do, and a terrible shame. Your daughter is quick of wit, Lady Shreve, much like her mother.
Oh, you dubious flatterer, you! Oh, but I accept it. Yes, well, do you not still have a son? He's not here, is he not? Training to be a knight. My husband is a knight, you know.
Oh, you've mentioned it once or twice before, Lady Shreve.
Yeah, and you know, Lord Shreve did not go on the hunt. Sir Shreve is technically his title.
Sir Shreve, yep.
Yeah, he's definitely like on the patio getting drunk right now.
He's too old for that shit.
With a lot of the other older men who are just like, just getting sunbaked.
Yep.
Except for the vulture, he's probably prowling around with his cane.
Yeah, no, the vulture's he's doing some stuff. But but yeah, you know, her husband's incredibly old and hasn't like fought in years.
Yeah.
But she's like, yes, I mean, seeing as we often are the guests and we have such absolutely, I mean, I find our raconteur, the tete-a-tete between us is always, well, like, you know, like when fire burns. Yes. So perhaps our lovely Aranette, I mean, wouldn't it not be great? I mean, what house do you truly believe Aranette deserves to be in? Seeing as she is, I mean, look at her over there, such a close friend to Mariella, who is an utter beauty. Always compliments. Also compliments on your newly achieved motherly divinity.
Aranette standing like 30 feet away from Mariella.
No, Mariella has done a lot to actually talk to Aranette. I would say Aranette is
Emotionally,
feet. Yeah,
emotionally, is she 30 feet away?
a little bit. Yeah, she's definitely like there's a group
Ashella
of
is
friends,
nearby, so yes.
yeah, like basically there's like the group of Mariella's friends, and then like 3 feet outside of that group is Aranette holding a glass, just smiling, being like,
right.
They're not attacking me. This is a good day.
yes, good day, good day.
So, okay. So I know Aranette has no chance of like talking to a boy as long as her mother is like nearby.
Absolutely.
So is there any way that, because I have no idea if Mariella has anyone in mind, is there actually any house that would benefit from, I mean, I don't know anything about Aranette, actually.
Well, so you could make my dear
breeding.
That is breeding is a thing.
Excellent. I do have that. So can I make a roll
Absolutely.
for that?
Absolutely.
All right. Status breeding, I believe.
Yes.
All right. Here we go. Okay. I don't have any modifiers for it, and I kind of want to save my destiny dice for
Do it.
shenanigans.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
All right. Here we go. Rolling.
Do it.
19.
Oh wow, 19. Tien was fucking 9.
Mother like daughter, yes.
No, I don't have
yes.
any modifiers for it. Oh
Well,
no.
actually, it was 12. But yeah, that's 2 degrees of success. So the Shreve family, I will literally say, all they can do is marry up.
Okay.
There is no family that will necessarily gain anything from attaching themselves to the Shreves. The Shreves are the only ones that could benefit from that marriage, because the Shreves are a very low tier house. However, Lady Shreve is such a fucking aggressive like debutante and things that she basically gets invited to kind of everything. Because she, while tedious and very loud and
Mhm.
not quite someone you would necessarily want at the party, and she's always throwing her daughter at people.
Mhm.
Her family has Lady Shreve's family, that because she wasn't originally a Shreve, right?
Mhm.
She married Lord Sir Shreve.
Right. Mhm.
Her family was was a very prominent and highly regarded like social house within the Targaryen dynasty. They essentially lived in the castle with the
Mhm.
Targaryens.
Okay.
While status-wise, because of the crown lands, the influence wasn't that high.
Yeah.
However, they knew everyone.
Okay.
And Lord Shreve got Lady Shreve's hand in marriage for winning a tournament, because
Mhm.
when Sir Shreve was like 20, was a really fucking good knight. He was literally not a noble. He gained knightship and nobility through his efforts for the Targaryens.
Mhm.
And then the moment he married Lady Shreve, he never competed again, and he basically just stopped. He was just like,
Gotcha.
cool, did it.
All right.
He
Okay.
reached his goal.
So
Yeah,
if we
and
kind
got a
of
huge dowry from their family.
Mhm.
However, her family were murdered
Got it.
entirely
Mhm.
by the rebels, right?
Okay.
They slaughtered them.
Mhm.
She is essentially one of the only members of her original family left.
Mhm.
That is a dead
Yikes.
house, essentially.
Okay.
But because of her position and the attention of that family in the Reach, she's always invited to sort of show support of
Yeah.
that.
'Cause
And
we were
rejecting
all
Lady
part.
Shreve is sort of like a
Yeah.
statement of like you agree with Robert Baratheon,
Which
and
no one in the Reach wants to do.
who the fuck? Yeah,
Gotcha.
the Reach is
Okay.
like
So
just
is there anything with my 19 that would have given me anything on Aranette?
yeah. So Aranette is like she is like, I hate saying these words, but
Mhm.
she is societally very unattractive.
Mhm.
You have heard a lot of people call her like horse faced
Mhm.
and stuff. She does have a flaw that essentially is she is, you know, the flaw I think is called like ugly, which I hate
Mhm.
using that word. It's a terrible fucking
By
word.
societal and cultural norms, she is not considered prime dating material.
Exactly.
Mhm.
There.
That is the exact vibe I'm going for.
Mhm.
Yeah, she is due to that she is also very very insecure, mostly due to the fact of her mother just
Mhm.
trying to pawn her off like a
Mhm.
goddamn commodity constantly. And it's
Gotcha.
the only thing, and Lady Shreve won't let Aranette like talk for herself. And she's
Mhm.
like, "No, you're just a delicate shy thing." Because Lady Shreve has crippled her with her massive personality, essentially.
Mhm.
So a lot of people's main perception of Aranette is like, oh, Pogo. Like that's
Mhm.
anytime someone says like, oh, there's lady, oh, Pogo, and then the conversation moves on.
Right.
No one dislikes Aranette.
Mhm.
Aranette is not offensive to anyone,
Mhm.
but she's pitied
Gotcha.
predominantly.
Okay. Does she have any like extraordinary talents? Like even though she's not like
So, that no, you got a 19. Yeah, I'll give you some
Mhm.
stuff. She is uh kind of actually bad at most lady things.
Okay.
She is very uncoordinated. She cannot dance.
Mhm.
Um she is crippling shy, so social events are very difficult for her. The only thing that you have heard very good things about her is her needlework. She
Mhm.
has very, very good needlework.
Okay.
So she knows how to sew. And that is essentially, however, I will say she
Mhm.
is not like the greatest sewer in Westeros.
Okay.
That is just compared to all of her other lacks, it does stand out that she is quite good at needlework.
Okay. Is
Makes
there? I
embroidery, a lot of
Yeah.
embroideries.
I've made like a previous before we had like our time skip. I've made friends with the minor houses in the
You have.
Reach. Is there anyone that is literally just looking for someone to marry their son
Yeah.
to?
Well, there's one guy who's absolutely looking to marry into nobility,
Mm.
which is Topper.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hell yes.
Yeah, there's Topper.
And I
Who-
invited him to the
he's
party.
here.
Who is
He's here.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
so
in the hunt
here's
right
what I-
now.
We can't
So
fucking
here's-
get rid of him. Oh no.
Here's what I'd like to do. So if Micah has any other hot nights, I would like to use them to distract Lady Shreve. And
Micah,
then
Micah, there's yeah. Well, most of the hot knights are off doing their shit, but
Right.
there are some guards here that Micah can wrangle.
Yeah, just anyone Micah who can wrangle to just distract Lady Shreve, because I mean I'm assuming, of course, but from what you've told me of Sir Shreve, Lady Shreve has not had
No.
attention.
No,
So
not at all. Literally
I'd like
none.
I'd like to use that to my advantage, especially with the event going on with the gambling and the drinking, to be able to distract her
Yeah.
while putting Topper in Aeronet's orbit.
Okay, yeah. So Topper isn't here, right? He's
Oh,
out.
he's
He's
on the
out.
hunt?
He's on the hunt. Yeah, because
Okay.
he's got to be. He's a dude.
Okay.
You know, he's got to be strong. But yeah, like Topper is. I mean, he's prominent, right? He's
Yeah.
He's a captain in
Mhm.
In the Gold Cloaks, right? That's really
Mhm.
big. The Shreves are a crown fall
Mhm.
city.
Mhm.
And Topper. I mean, Vivian, you know, Topper's your guy.
Yeah.
Like, regardless of whatever he swears oaths to, he's your guy. Like, you've fully bought him and
Yeah.
introduced him to noble society. Like,
Mhm.
he is your guy. Anything you now basically have full corrupt influence within the capital city because
Excellent.
of that.
And if I get him a wife, excellent.
Yeah. The fact that you didn't blame him when you got poisoned was a really big thing for
Mhm.
him. And in fact, because of that, he got commendations for like saving you because you
Dope.
helped him that. So he's actually rather prominent. So
Okay.
if he marries Aeronet, he would become a noble. He would
Mhm.
take over House Shreve, and then he would have his own noble house, and he has his own prominence, which would then raise the Shreves up in even
Dope.
more prominence and put
And
them.
then-
Hilarious enough, it would put them back in the city.
Listen, and that would just give, in the future, if my son ever needed to go back into King's Landing, he has a gold cloak captain in his back pocket. Dope, doing it. So if he's not here, I don't know if it's something that I have to do, because I do have a thing that I'd like to do. But
The
if
other thing I
can
will
maybe-
mention that I don't think you'll care about, but I will say,
Mhm.
like, Topper is like your age.
Oh.
Great, awesome, good to know. Like, that's super normal, right? Like, that's because Aeronet is essentially like a little older than Miriella.
She's like 20. Right?
Understood.
yeah.
Listen.
So that age, like I think that's pretty appropriate.
Listen, in 10 years, it's going to matter. It's not going to matter as much.
Yeah.
Listen,
Right?
getting ma-
Also,
Right?
Topper, not a bad looking dude. I mean, rough. He's rough. Like, you
He's
wouldn't
rough.
touch him personally, but like,
Yeah.
but like
But-
among people, are you sure that people would find his like scarred face and in thick beard? Well, you know.
Listen, when you don't have enough money, you can't be picky. I'm sorry I have to say that.
Definitely got
I
he's
hate
definitely
it.
got a lot of money now because of what
Yeah.
you've helped set up with him.
Yeah.
Especially since
Yeah.
all of your poppy goes through his gate now exclusively.
Weird. But yeah, so when Topper comes back, I definitely want to put them in orbit, but if that's not right now, I don't know if I have to do a roll or anything, or if I need to talk
Oh,
to
to
Aaron.
distract Lady Shreve with
Yeah.
hot nights? No, I would say
Okay.
you're fine. I would say that
Excellent.
just happens.
I said
Okay.
she has to roll to see.
Yeah,
if
she
has
would have to
attention.
roll to see how and the answer is not good.
She has
So-
negative dice.
Yeah, no, I mean her
Yeah.
will is actually quite strong, but honestly, if you're just like, oh, I mean, like, that sounds absolutely fantastic.
Mhm.
I have had someone in mind, but have you met this half naked knight man?
Mhm.
And she's like, no, I have not had the pleasure.
Have some
Lady
Arbor
Shreve.
Gold. Have some
Yeah.
Arbor Gold. Yeah, so I think I'll I don't know, because I don't know if that's going to take up most of my time, because I would like to do like a different thing and not be setting up Aeronet.
Yeah,
with,
no, that's fine. I know
okay.
that's a thing for later. So, but is there someone you would like to talk to?
I mean, so I guess to clarify, the thing I want to do, I've told you about before, I can't do that now. Like, I want to figure out how to get the high towers involved in this.
Yeah. So,
mean,
I mean,
so
his
are you
wife is here.
Yeah, that's what I would like to like talk about, like, invest in now. But if I can't do that now, because
You can totally do that now.
Okay, then yeah.
Cool. So I now have to bring up where high towers are, of course, reach. High tower. Oh, ooh,
Vivian has designs on Hightower and red wine. Red wine is the missing link.
yes. Red wine is the big missing link, and you want to figure out what the fuck the high towers are up to and how
Yeah.
involved they are. Excellent. Trying to find the high towers. It's the biggest fucking thing. Oh god, it's so much information. Leighton's heir, Sir Baelor, and then that's right. Rhonda. That's her name. Rhonda, originally of House Rowan. So Rhonda Hightower is his wife. She is here.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to speak with her.
Yeah. So just a quick reminder: Lord Baelor, often Hightower, often known as Baelor Brightsmile, is the heir
Understood.
of House because the actual Lord is Leighton, and Leighton is essentially a 100-year-old lich. To be quite honest, like he never leave. There's literally they're called High Tower for a reason because in Old Town there is a giant tower. He lives at the fucking top of it in a throne, and he just basically lives there in that throne.
Yeah, I remember it's because Baelor has like a bunch of kids because he's not the Lord yet, but he and his wife have produced like a bunch.
They
of
have
kids
11 children.
Dope.
11. Rhonda looks great.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell she's had 11 children, but she looks great.
Listen, keep it tight.
Listen, you've had 7. Like,
yeah,
you know what's up.
I get it. But yeah, I would definitely like to start a conversation with her, if not an intrigue. If you,
so let's do let's do an intrigue. We're gonna do intrigue, and then after the intrigue, we're gonna go to break.
Yep.
So, Vivienne, you're in the salon, the carpets, the beautiful purples and reds, and of course some like gray and oranges sort of mixed in different ways to sort of see the union of the houses. You spot Rhonda Hightower, and she is very avidly a part of like the betting. She seems I think you can tell just by being who you are. The role wouldn't really be necessary. She seems very less interested in the fact that they are naked men, and much more interested in the fact that gambling is happening.
Understood.
So you immediately can kind of tell that seems very invested in the gambling and the money, which I mean the Hightowers are very wealthy. They fucking control Old Town, which is Old Town. Not to mention that her family is House Rowan, which are also one of the like incredibly rich. So yeah.
Okay.
So you approach her. So let's get into this intrigue. You're gonna go first because of your ability. She does not have a counter for that. What is your intention? My guess is information.
Information, 100%.
Yeah. All right. What is your approach, my darling?
So, do you mean my disposition?
Yeah, we can do disposition first. Yeah.
Okay.
What's your disposition?
It's amiable because I don't know if we've been maybe friendly if we've been. She's part of the Reach. I feel like
you talked to Rhonda. You talked to Rhonda before.
Then maybe friendly because we have known each other since me being introduced into like the Theoden Hall. I think we've met each other from time and time again.
Yeah. So is you saying friendly instead of amiable?
I think that makes sense because we've had established like meetings beforehand. So.
Yeah, you've definitely talked about stuff, and while Baelor has sort of like is a little like colder around you, like he's still his charming self, but you can tell there's like a wall there now.
Yeah.
You don't feel that from Rhonda.
Excellent. Then yeah, I'll say friendly then.
Okay, friendly, fantastic. Yeah, and so what is your what is your your technique?
I guess my technique. I think charm. I would like to
Charm makes
try.
the most sense to
Yeah.
me too. Yeah, absolutely. You are just going to be very charming to her, and this is
Mhm.
going to be using. Are you are you trying to deceive her right now, or this is more persuasion, charming of getting her to see your way of things and maybe get some info out of her?
I would like to use seeing my way of things, but would it change it to deception because I am using our friendship to get information about her
I don't
house and everything?
think so.
Okay.
Um, deception is like deceiving her, but like
Mhm.
it's you're not trying to get her to believe something that's not true, right?
Yeah.
That right, right?
I'm not using that. I'm just using our
You're
friendship.
just
to-
leveraging your
Yeah.
relationship to get more out of her. I don't think
Yeah.
that's
So
deception. I think that's
okay.
persuasion.
All right then.
Yeah, because deception is trying to get someone
To believe something.
to
That's not
believe
true.
something that is not
Gotcha.
true.
Okay.
That's what the deception is, right? And I
Mhm.
don't think you're doing that. So persuasion, fantastic.
Mhm.
So it'll be charm, persuasion, charm.
Mhm.
Oh no. Yeah. So you come. Do you like sit down next to her? How do you approach her? Rhonda,
Yeah.
she's
Mhm.
got her kind of like fucking ash pale blonde hair that a lot of all the Rowans have. Um, she's a woman who has like very broad shoulders and very much like an hourglass frame.
Mhm.
But her like waist is nothing. Like it's so tiny. She's literally like but she's got a booty, like a big one.
Okay, girl.
Her hair is unlike a lot of the women here, I think is fully straightened, and the
Mhm.
one back long part of it is up and done in like this very beautiful back braid that kind of looks like a three-tiered castle with gems
Ooh.
encrusted in
Very
it.
cool.
And of course she has like a silver dress on with these like black like kind of tracing symbols that sort of look like parapets
Mhm.
through it. Very elegant, very fine make.
Mhm.
Yeah, so how do you approach her?
Yeah, I think just she's depending on who that she is betting on. I think I'll come in with my own. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so she's betting on a guard that you don't really know, but you're
Mhm.
pretty sure that guard's gonna lose
Mhm.
because who he's fighting is oh god, no, what's his name? My boy.
Is it one of ours?
Yeah, it's one of your guards.
Micah, Cord.
Cord. There it is.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your guard is fighting
Cord.
Cord,
Yeah.
and you know Cord is like
Yeah.
the best hand-to-hand fighter of your personal guard.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's about to bet on the other guard because the other guard just won twice.
Mhm.
But Cord hasn't fought yet, and he's just like
Yeah.
coming in. And a lot of people aren't betting him because Cord is shorter.
Yeah.
Like quite honestly, he's literally he's basically the same height as like
Mhm.
Mariella.
Mhm.
So he's short. He's like a 5'8",
Mhm.
5'7" ish.
Mhm.
But you've seen him just annihilate
Yeah.
men.
So
So
I think I'll with that information, I think I'll tell Rhonda it's like just coming in is like bit of a home field advantage. Bet on Cord, my dear.
and she suddenly turns and goes, "Oh, sorry, I was far and away, Lady Vivienne. Oh, is that that's the one with the shaved head?
Yes.
You wouldn't deceive me, would you?"
Not at all.
So I would say you leveraging that. I think
Mhm.
I think that's influence right there.
100%.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you roll me that charm roll, and
Okay.
that's your first attack in this intrigue.
Understood. So, is she of status 4 or higher?
Yes.
All right, so I get a +1 bonus dice to my roll when it comes to charm.
It's a good ability.
All right. And this is Friends of Nobles if you're following
Yes.
along with it. Yeah. So, okay. Ready to roll bargain and charm. Anything else you want to add to before I click the rolly button?
No, you're good.
Okay. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
I do only one thing, and that is talk good.
Yeah, it's 27.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Rhonda, okay. All right, Rhonda's will defense is actually pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, and I think
You still, with a 27, you crit her. Because her will defense is doubled, is under 27.
Mhm.
Without that +2, you wouldn't have gotten it. But like, yeah, that's a good. So that is 1, 2, 3. Oh,
I would just like to
Jesus.
preface that this game is
Yeah.
so terrifying that I'm really happy that this happened.
No, I understand. I'm trying to.
Mhm.
Oh, Jesus. It's 1 point away. It's literally like 1 point away
Mhm.
from being 4 degrees of success, but
Gotcha.
it is 3 degrees of success.
Mhm.
What is the number of your persuasion?
It is 5.
Oh,
Mhm.
good. So that's 15 influence.
Oh, I see.
I see. I
Um,
see.
yeah. And with a crit, that's a +5 to that.
Oh no.
So 20 influence.
Yeah, when Vivian hits, she hits hard.
She hits hard. There is literally no reason this woman would take frustration right now.
Mhm.
I can't justify it. I can't justify it. No.
Especially with that open move, you can't.
No, you've annihilated her. You've literally annihilated her in
I'm
one
very
move.
happy I chose gambling and not like, I don't know, throwing colored balls across the lawn.
Yeah, no, that would have been different. But I will say, because Rhonda actually, one of her things is gambling. Actually.
Oh my god, I had no idea.
Yeah, I will just say, Old Town actually has like a lot of gambling halls, and she kind of goes to them a lot.
Makes
You know,
sense.
it's like why? I have 11 children. Like, and then everyone goes, Makes sense. Yeah, you just get her because I can't justify her because that's like a good move and like So you say that to her, she goes, oh, well, thank you. She like, you haven't told anyone else, have you? Just
I
me?
have not just you.
Like, very well. Like, well, come sit down. And like she puts it on cord, and the match begins, and the dude runs at cord, and cord just like dips down and flips him like over immediately, and then just like palm heals his face, and he's just like done, and he's just like, I'm like, all right, son. I'm like, son. I'm like, are you sure you're done? I think, are you sure? I heard that crack about me. And I'm like, maybe I'll give you a crack, eh? Like, no, sir, I'm done. That's right, boy. All right, get up. And he just
Well done.
pats him on the ass. I'm like, and a lot of people are like, damn it. And yeah, you see bringing in the tokens. She just won a lot of money.
Yep.
Like a lot of money. Yeah, so she's like, oh, well, he might just be my my man. Thank you for the tip. He's just like, all right, ladies. I was like, who do you want me? I think, who do you want me to fight next?
Way to work
Cord,
the room
Cord,
forward.
Cord, while not necessarily a good-looking dude, is jacked as fuck. Like all the other knights, I think, are like a lot leaner and smoother. She's like aggressively jacked, and it's doing it for some of the ladies.
Proud of you.
Yeah, no, Vivian, I know. I know. A man that can just throw a man like a sack of potatoes is a draw.
We all have something.
Yeah, we all have something. It's true. Yeah. So yeah, so Rhonda just kind of starts talking to you. It's like, this is so exciting. I'm so happy that Henrik found someone. I was very saddened because I was so looking forward to our houses being united. Our house is so closely related. But then when I found out that this was, well, it was a love match. well, I can't exactly be disappointed, can I?
No, I understand when, I mean, you understand, of course, being the mother of so many, you can only do so much before they
She
go
fucking
off on their own
she
devices.
nods, and you just want to spend all the time, and sometimes you don't even have time for the boys because the time with your daughters are so
Limited.
fleeting,
Mm-hmm.
and you just want to do something, but this, well, you understand. And she
I
like
do.
takes your hand and goes, "You do,
Mm,
don't you?"
I do. I'm just very glad that you are having such a wonderful time in these festivities. I had felt that after the events of what happened, I had noticed, well, Bright Smile has been a bit more standoffish, and I understand that the responsibilities of our lords are many and in between. And I was just along with you gracing me with your company. If there's anything that I could do to help you and your family, because, us rich ladies have to stick
Oh,
together.
I would love that. Um, I know Balo was vastly upsetted with, and he did seem to blame. Unfortunately, I would say he seems to blame you for it, which I was very confused about. But I was also upset because it seemed like they got on so well, and she was she very much liked him. But knowing what, well, I spoke to Lady Tarley, and she saw them kissing just before match and nearly giving her his token, and I think he didn't take it due to he didn't want to hurt any of the other ladies. Henrik seems like such a noble lad. Listen, Vivian, you did a really good job spinning this, so I'm just
I did.
this is
I
the
was like,
effect of
yeah,
that.
I'm just so happy this is the outcome of what happened. Like, God,
You
that's so
listen, you
good.
you put in the work, you put in the
Mhm.
role. It's like all of
God,
you did.
me and my family are so fucking good.
It's true. Just like he's such a kind and understanding lad, and to know, I mean, having all the things that people saw them together at the King's tournament and all these other places, and to know that this, while of course a beneficial match, is a love match that
Indeed.
I think it tempered me. I couldn't be upset for my daughter anymore to know that a heart's desire was fulfilled. It's so rare.
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Like, yes, I am sorry. But I think it's just because he hoped to unite our houses.
Mm-hmm.
I I mean, there's still many children, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope one day perhaps our houses could be united. But I'm fine for it waiting. But he just, she kind of looks like sad, like a little bit. Like,
Mm-hmm. Rhonda,
I think he
take-
respects you a lot.
Oh.
And you feel in the words, I think he respects you a lot, is this
Oh.
sort of knowledge of, she knows that he doesn't really respect her.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this, you feel this envy from
Mm-hmm.
her, but due to what you've just done,
Mm-hmm.
the envy isn't malicious, it's much more devotional now.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, like, you're just like, oh, she's just a good person and very smart and and just like, I think he values your input and wanted to work with you more. He always talks about plans, and I will say there was a lot of pressure on us,
Mm-hmm.
because we are adults and we have no real responsibilities, because Leighton, my lord father, uh only ever does anything himself at his own pace. So there's a lot of pressure on us to keep up appearances and do everything that he is supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, 11 children. The High Towers have to marry outside of Old Town. While there are many families that dwell here, we cannot make the mistake our ancestors made. And Vivian, from the past things, you know what they're talking about. There was sort of a run of like nigh incest within the High Towers,
Understood.
because they didn't want to like marry outside of their giant capital city, but eventually all the houses just started being sort of related to one another, and there was a problem strain that really crippled the Hightower family. A lot of people kind of say that Leighton is sort of one of the last one of those people.
Okay.
He is a lot of people say, a lot of people are like, well, he's just old, but other people say like, no, he's disfigured, like he's not quite there.
Understood. Okay.
Very intelligent, but might be a little manic. Yeah, so she sort of tells you there's a lot of pressure on us, and we wanted to have as many just outside of the city, even though my lord father constantly insists to keep well, I won't even say it. And I think he was just disappointed, but he does still very much respect you. He sort of has a sort of club that he has been using to improve so many things in Old Town and trying to really connect our family with things outside. I think he wanted you to be a part of that, but I think people have hurt my husband before. I mean, the whole thing with Doran Martell and Leia Martell, he was originally her betrothed, and then one crossword from Doran, and suddenly he's a laughingstock for years, even though he is nothing but an intelligent and charming man. Kind of shakes her head. He's cautious, so I think he felt he can only trust people that are attached to the family and in well-being. I told him that, of course, you're already invested in the well-being of our house due to
the trade that we
yeah, exactly. We are I think, besides the Red Keep, your greatest patron. Sorry, not client of thing due to the Citadel.
Those maesters loves the milk of the poppy.
They do, and they go through it quite thoroughly. Yeah. So basically, what information specifically would you like to now get out of her before we cut to break?
Yeah, so I would like if she knows anything more about this club that he is a part of.
Yeah, so she'll she'll tell you the members. She says her brother is a part of it, of in House Rowan. Also, several families that kind of live within the city are a part of it. And they said they had a new member that has really excited Baylor. His name is Ormond Bulwer.
Okay. Yep.
She's like, he joined less than a year ago, and she has really put him on a fast track.
Gotcha. Okay.
What with the Bulwers being upstream from us, it just is only natural.
Of course.
Show him, get him.
Okay. All
right. So before you weren't sure about the Hightowers, you now are fully confirmed they're a part of this.
Okay.
You're not sure how much they are. However, you do now. But however, you still don't know about the red wines. But you're pretty sure. I will just say you are sure the red wines are the only missing link to this.
Okay.
You can still do this. You can do. So, with that information, we're going to go to our break. Please, when we come back, we will be seeing Blood Bloom, finding out what's happening in the infirmary, and then the final moon will begin. So stick around.